What do you do when it's cold and you can't paint? Build a Star Wars Bandai figure kit. Hey everybody, it's Kenny Conklin from HobbyLinkInternational.com and welcome to another YouTube video. So today we're going to start working on the Bandai 1/12 scale Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper outfit. And the reason we're starting on this is it's just so cold in here. I can't paint. That's why I'm not starting any of my group builds. Plus I'm waiting on some parts for those things too. So enough yammering out of me. Let's get right to the build and show you this kit. First off, this is Bandai's instructions. If you haven't done a Bandai kit yet, they got this crazy fold out thing, which I hate. Bandai, these things are crap. Change them to a flip out book. It makes it much easier on the builder. This gets a little crazy. And already it starts out confusing because they show you Luke already put together instead of just showing you his head. So if you're doing this with one of your kids, just make sure you're with them to help them read the instructions. Let me get the parts and we'll start snipping. The first part of the Stormtrooper outfit is working on the neck, so we're going to snip those off. I'll probably just start building and we'll do a little high-speed build for a while unless there's anything important we got to show you, and we'll probably do it that way. So let me get to snipping these things. Next up is the flesh portion of his neck. I'm using the extra fine sanding stick to try to not leave any marks on the plastic. Squeeze them together. You could still see a little bit of a gap, but I think these are made more for kids anyhow to get them into the hobby. And he's going to have a little pimple on his neck there now. There's not much I can do about that. The unfortunate part though, the next part is his head and his hair, which I didn't want to do. I thought that would be last because I wanted to try to fill in the gaps that I know about, but we might not be doing that. We shall see. Let's see. They say the front part. Okay, it's very difficult now to tell what the front part of this is. So I'm assuming, we're going to assume, and as Benny Hill says, you know what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. Let's put that in there. There we go. Wow, that's one big neck we got going on there, which is interesting. I guess his head will plop on there, but next up is off to the head. All right, next up is his hair. Like I said, I really wanted to do this last, but since this is the next part of the build, we'll get the hair on here. Try to get that as close as possible so we don't have to do too much sanding. There goes a piece flying. We got pieces everywhere. Take that little piece off. And now you take this piece, and it's the piece with the double hole, which they don't show you because I guess you're supposed to look at the back there, and then you just shove next up, and we're already onto it, which is going to be a pretty quick build. I don't know if you can see that, but this is Luke Skywalker's face. They did a very nice job on it. Now I'm a little scared to cut it. Hopefully we don't mess this thing up popping it on to that piece over there. And if you're curious why I leave the stubs, because once you take it off, it's easier to get your clippers in a lot closer for a cleaner cut than trying to do it on the sprue itself. And there we go. We got Luke's face. Next part of the build, oh, if we don't drop Luke, is just to squeeze his head right on there. Next up is just taking the other 3 hair pieces and popping those on, and Luke's head will be done like that. 1, 2, 3. And now we do our 3 pieces of hair, and we'll figure out which one goes where. Quite sure this one goes right over here. See, that's not fitting too. Oh, there we go. You know what? There is a gap, but it's really not that bad. It blends in pretty well. It's not too bad once you get it snapped in really tight. Yeah, if you push it really tight, you really can't see. I mean, you could tell it's there, but it kind of looks like his part. So that's not bad. If we leave him like that, what a 5 head he's got, huh? If that is not a 1970s haircut, I don't know what is. But already in a couple steps, we got Luke Skywalker's head done. So let's put him to the side and move on to the next part. It looks like we're going to be working on the torso now, so it has us taking off a couple parts here on the runner, part 40, and then we're going to move over to the, I forgot what type of material you call this, but it's a lot more flexible than regular styrene, and it's not neoprene. Neoprene is gloves that we used to use. I can't remember the name of this, but it's a lot softer, and I know using this, if you use oil paints or enamels or something like that, it will melt it. So if you're painting, be very careful with this. That sounded like it snapped in there, and God willing I picked the right one because I cut them both off at the same time. That one had a snap sound to it. This one Just doesn't feel like I'm bending that. Well, hopefully that's in there. It looks like it's in there like the other one. This one snapped and this one didn't, so like I said, I cut them off at the same time like an idiot, and hopefully those are in the right spots. We're gonna find out as we progress. Next part, we're just gonna mate part 41 and 40 together and squeeze them as tight as we can. And you'll hear it snap like that. And the nice thing about these is we're not using any glue or anything like that. So again, it's kid friendly as long as you're sitting with them and helping them with this build. Okay, 39, and we're gonna flip this over this way. The little thing goes over here. And again, that just squeezes in there. And it looks like the little tabs won't really matter that much because we're going to be putting another piece over here. Hopefully we cut that one a little bit better. See, that piece was a lot nicer, even though it cuts really hard. I have no little stubs or anything like that, and this is going to cover over that piece there. And again, we're not using any glue on this build at all. We're just pushing it really hard in place, and it's not going to back out. Next up is going to be B24, and that's going to be the chest plate. And the white is very shiny on this, so you don't have to use any type of clear. And if you can hear how hard that is when I'm snapping it, that's why I'm snapping down here all the way away from the piece. This way I can do the cuts up there and not worry about trying to break it on here. And then the next piece, we're just going to line it up. It says front, get those pieces lined up in there. And then just squeeze them together. There we go. We got his top half almost done already. And there we go. We got a couple more pieces on there. Chugging right along. Maybe one day we'll get Kenny Jr. back on camera since he hasn't been on in a long time and have him build one of these. All right, so we have this one facing this way, and it looks like the smaller indentation goes down towards the bottom. This goes towards the top. Looks like it has a little crease in there, but I don't see a nub. It's definitely going this way. Definitely goes that way because there we go. And we snap that guy right in there. And then easy enough on the back. Just make sure that this is the right way. Squeeze it really tight. There's a little gap there, but you're not going to see that once it goes together. So we got that. We have a head and we have a neck. The next thing they're calling for is the torso is going to be put together. So you got the little hole under here. You have the ball rotation in there. And then we're going to snap this in here. You do have to put a little bit of pressure when you're getting those in there. That snaps in there, and his torso moves around somewhat. They're kind of like little toys too. And then once that's done, see now, haha, I forgot to put Luke's head on. So at the beginning, I didn't put Luke's head in here, and then we snap his little throat right in there, and there we go. Luke's head is all on there, and then the next part of this. Now this is funny. You ever hear somebody say put a square peg in a round hole? This is the opposite. This is a square hole with a round peg. So you got to jam his little round thing in there, which it actually fits. And look at that. We got Luke's head. Moves up and down so he can look down. He can look side to side. Next up, we're moving on to his pelvis. It's a little confusing. It's showing an arrow coming through under here and the same thing over here. And I'm looking on the inside and I really don't know where this is going. All right, Kenny Jr. has helped me and figured this out. On the directions, they're showing you the front. They should actually show you the back. There's a little pole in the middle here, little post, and it looks like this is where it gets squeezed onto, I'm hoping. Okay, when you're doing his pelvic area, you'll see the post right here. You're gonna have these two pieces in the back end of the post. What you're gonna do is take one, and it's like a knob here. You'll have a flat part and then the bulbous part at the end. Take the bulbous part on the first one. That's what I did wrong. Push it all the way down, and that can move up and down. And then you take the other one and you go flat like that, and now our legs are on the same pivot point. So this way they mate up like that. That was pretty bad on the instructions, so just be careful of that if you're doing these. It's a little bit of nonsense. And then we'll just take these pieces. This is the front over here. Let me just make sure that's the front over there with the 3. Do they all have 3? They both have 3. And then we'll put his front pelvis on here. Get that in there like that. And then you have the round here with the round on that side. And that's going to be the back portion of his armor. Line that up. Snap that guy in there like that. And then we take Luke's top half. They have the circle here. Take that there. And you snap him in there. And now we have a half of Luke Skywalker. I think this is where we're going to finish this video. The next video we'll put his arms and legs on, and we'll be closer to being finished with Luke. Okay, this is going pretty quick. We got about a half of Luke Skywalker done already. The next video, we'll finish up his body. The video after that, we got a little detail painting and decals to do, and then we'll have the finale on Luke. Just remember, if you're doing this guy, when you're doing the pelvis, make sure those two parts are opposite of each other so the flat ends meet, and then you'll have his pelvis done easily. So that was just a little bit of a pain in the neck. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and checking out the video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.